Hey guys, it's me again, and today we're going to talk about 10 tips to increase your success rate in railjack. Now, as far as the order of my list goes, I'm going to try and go from least useful to most useful, but at the same time, any tip that I give you that might be patched out is probably going to end up on the bottom of the list. For my first tip, what if I told you that you can't actually fail hacking a reactor inside of a cruise ship? Now, what do I mean by that? It's Grineer hacking. Well, if you go into the hacking interface and then immediately exit out of it with escape, the shield will go down, even though you didn't hack anything. This has already saved me hundreds of ciphers in this update already, so I hope it's going to be useful to some of you guys before they patch it. Now for my second tip. Okay, so I'm about to hit in catastrophic failure imminent state. Now, what I can do is climb into the barrel here, and you see there's a little thing here that says hold to revive. And I can give the ship full health. Now, it doesn't save the ship from catastrophic failure state, but what it does do is give the ship full health, and that's actually very useful to your engineers, and especially since doing repairs on your ship actually heals your ship now, instead of just, repairs the damage. This actually means that you can give your engineers a lot of breathing room if you're a fighter on the outside and just go ahead and do this. Now, if you have Vazarin, this is going to be instant, but I have plenty of health here. Now, I am sitting literally in front of turrets just to take more damage, but you guys get the idea. Tip number 3. Now, this next tip probably also isn't staying in the game. In fact, it's definitely not, because it's definitely a bug. But for this trick, all you need is pilot leveling 2, and this will unlock the directional dash as well as, boost at level 1. But I'm running stock engines right now, and as you can see, I am boosting right now, and you could probably barely even tell. Now, here's a trick to actually make yourself go a lot faster. So what you do is you want to tap shift, and normally that would do your dash, but before the dash ends, you want to tap and hold sprint or boost, and this will actually make you go faster. And then as soon as you let go or you lose fuel, you actually do a further dash. So as you can see, I'm going a lot faster with my stock engines. And of course, if you have better engines than stock, this trick will be even more useful. Now, just to show you how fast I actually go with this trick, I'm actually gonna catch up with some fighters. So let's get over here. Oh, hold on. Let's not crash into you and have you instantly die. But just show you, I can not only catch up with this fighter, I can actually boop the fighter. I can actually touch the fighter. Let's see, we get another fighter here. And we're gaining on this fighter. Oh, we're here. So if you have the battle avionic particle ram, this trick will actually help you farm for Zekti bulkhead very easily. Now for tip number 4. Now another tip is when you're actually outside the railjack and say there's a cruise ship right in front, and you want to get into the slingshot to just basically board it risk-free, and you don't actually have to go back inside to get into the slingshot. Instead, you can just sit right here and fire it off. Now tip number 5. My next tip is deployable Warframe Powers will apply to Arcwing. So if you just set your, say, a Wisp mode right here, and then go out into railjack, it will actually apply to your Arcwing. So I have the extra health and the health regen from the Wisp mode I just got. Now on that same note, tip number 6. Now this next tip is Warframe passives actually work in Arcwing. So if you're running something other than Amatia, you're probably going to want to run Hildren, because Hildren's shield gating passive makes you invulnerable after you lose your shields. Now, alternatively, if you are running Amatia and for some reason you need more damage, then you probably want to run Garuda, or if you don't have Prime Morphic Transformer and your slow isn't that good, then you're going to probably run Ember, because Ember's passive makes it so that you gain power strength whenever people near you are on fire. Let me just engage these guys, just to show you. Let them hit me real fast, and I'm immune. Now what I can do next is put up my shield. Oh wait, my shields are back. Oh, I'm immune again. So you guys get the point. Now tip number 7. Now this next tip is for you people that don't actually have a Meisha. Now I am using a Meisha, but if you don't have a Meisha, what you want to do is go ahead and put cold damage on your weapon. And cold damage will turn into frost damage. Instead of, you know, slowing the enemies down, frost damage will actually freeze the enemy solid, similar to Frost 4. So this will help you, like, slow down the enemies that you're shooting. But frost damage will actually help you chase them better. Tip number 8. Now in the Veil, cruise ships can actually drop repair fields for their allies. And when their allies are inside this, they heal over time. But the thing is, you can actually just destroy them by shooting at them. And you know that you'll destroy them when you suddenly become blind and a million particles fill your screen. But when they're in the field, the status makes short work of these enemies anyways, whether they're healing or not. And this is a cruise ship inside the repair field. Even if they are repairing in the repair field, the Syncus just doesn't care, so just use a status weapon anyways. Tip number 9. Now for this next tip, a lot of people are asking me how I'm not dying instantly after I leave a cruise ship. Or like I enter or leave like a objective, like a pulse turbine or something. And the reason is simple. It's because the game's animations don't actually like line up properly with like when you're vulnerable. And so to demonstrate that, let's actually kill these fighters and we'll go over there to that pulse turbine. Okay, so I'm at the pulse turbine. I'm letting my ship take damage. It doesn't really matter to me, but I'm just gonna show you this. But when you enter a ship, as soon as your crosshair appears, you are vulnerable. So I'm spamming space right now, basically to get Wisp passives up, because her passive is invisibility. So, but if I like didn't know that or didn't like pay attention to that and just entered normally, I'd be fucking dead. Oh, I'm dead. So yeah, as soon as your crosshair appears, you are vulnerable. The same thing is the case when you enter or exit a cruise ship, because you actually get a black screen, but your cursor will appear before like the rest of your screen does, basically. And that will let you know that you are vulnerable. And the 10th tip. Did you know Wreckage is actually a huge scam? I have a Vidar Mark II reactor, and this cost me a lot of resources, by the way. I think this cost me like upwards of like 12,000 titanium and whatnot. But it currently has 24 and 40. The Sigma Mark II has 30 and 50. And by the way, that costs twice as much. And I had to wait 12 hours before I could use it. Versus the Sigma part that's just sitting right here. Oh, and by the way, there isn't a 12-hour repair time on Sigma parts. As soon as you fabricate it, I can instantly go over here and add it. A lot of these Wreckage parts are a scam. Here's another example. So I have this Zekti shield array that gives me 382 shield capacity. It also gives me some like shield regen delay, as well as extra shields per second. But you see the shield capacity is 382. The Sigma shield array has 500 shield capacity. And my best one, actually, so far, gives me 457. But it does have a nice shield regen per second, as well as it does come with a passive. Now, that's the best one I have. Look at these other ones. This is 113. This is a Mark III part. A Mark III. 176, also a Mark III part. These are Mark III parts. I actually have a Mark I shield array that rolled higher than this Mark III. So what I'm trying to say here is, and before you even invest anything into Wreckage at all, like I have here, what you should do is grab your Sigma Mark III parts first. Grab these first, and then you want to look at Wreckage. Then you should be chasing your god rolls. Now, yes, some of the parts like Vidar reactors, for example, have the potential to get higher avionics capacity, but really you're going to want like something like 96 or higher roll for it to be like to fit everything in there. Otherwise, it's just you're burning more than twice as much resources when you can just fabricate the Sigma one first. I'm gonna go over to the wiki here, and we're gonna sort by DPS. Now, the Zekti parts deal the most damage, but look at the damage until overheat on something like the Zekti APOC compared to the other parts. So basically, for a Zekti part to even really work, you need Zekti Polar Coil, and Zekti Polar Coil isn't even a huge bump or in heat capacity. Now, of course, these Wreckage parts can randomly roll with bonuses, like Zekti parts can roll fire rate, same as Lavin parts, and Vidar parts can randomly roll damage, but they have a trade-off. So, like Vidar parts here, like this one, for example, it has a much, much lower accuracy compared to its other counterparts. Like here's a Sigma. Sigma's at 40, Lavin's at 50, Zecti's at 66.7. Now for Lavin has a little bit higher accuracy, but now it doesn't show it here, but these can actually roll with lower status than base, and status is pretty important in railjack, so I wouldn't even want to sacrifice the lower status for higher accuracy. Here's another example. I have a Lavin Mark III Photor. This part actually rolls with higher status, but I lose crit multiplier here. So I have a 1.5 crit multiplier versus a 2 times multiplier. So you have to decide, is the extra status and slightly higher weapon damage even worth it? And even then, it says I have extra weapon damage, but the numbers are actually the same here as far as damage goes. So I don't even know if the damage thing even works. Now the only Sigma part you kind of don't want is the Sigma engines, because the Sigma Mark III engines right now aren't coded properly, as in these don't actually do anything right now when you actually put them on. I don't know what's up with that, but it might be a visual bug, I don't know. So before you even invest into this very, very expensive wreckage that just drops out in the world, grab the Sigma parts first. They're cheaper, they don't have a repair time, and it's clan research. So even if you're in someone else's dojo, and say your dojo doesn't have this fully researched, you can probably just nab it from them. Anyway guys, that's all from me. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.